Go now to Dryerbuzz.com and follow at Dryerbuzz on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. It's all about the buzz.
It is all about the buzz. It's all about starting a brand new day. Hey guys, it's Yolanda at Dryerbuzz, and this is where we get together. Hold on, I'm sorry, I gotta give you this noise. I didn't turn my mic down. This is where we have a conversation about how to get out of bed. This is where we find moments of gratification, not gratification, but gratefulness. Where we find gratefulness, first thoughts in the morning, one eye open, frog in the throat, literally committed to each other, helping each other out, offering what we can to one another, speaking out openly, honestly, truthfully, and transparent about what we might be going through so that we can help others. So thank you for those of you that jump right on there. I'm trying to, as you can see, even though I don't commit to a time, I'm trying to fall within a consistent sequence. You know, that's the furthest I can get from commitment and the closest I can get to commitment. A consistent sequence. I should really write that down. In fact, let's just use the word consistent, because I had another word that I heard as I was meditating on what to talk about this morning. And I'm like, I really don't want to do that, because I like to go around to the positive side. But one of the things that's driving the consistency, I want to talk about ghosting. I'm gonna put down, why do we want to be consistent? Because we don't want to be viewed as ghosting, right? Because when you are not consistent, okay, you jump in, you jump out, you're all in, you're all out, you're going through a fog, you're going through something, or you don't trust something, trust coming back into that. And so it keeps us from being consistent. Now, first and foremost, and what, I need to check a couple of things. Let me check one more thing here. Do as I do unto others as they do unto you. I share, you share. All right, let me see some. I wanted to make sure I had some messages. I want to make sure that I hadn't missed anything. And the device I have to check that on has, let's see here. It's got to reset. It's like you already on a device that's like maxed out. Okay, so we'll check that. So I'll just give them a shout out until I can get to my desk and get everything worked out for that. So that's a new sponsor coming on, and I wanted to see if I had all of their materials so I can go ahead and load and play. But we'll get to that, because I'm consistent. Consistent sequence. I like for everything to flow within a consistent sequence. Like, you like the fact that I come on your favorite platform, and you like consistently that I'm going to see you, shout you out, going to have this conversation. So one of the things, and you see, I've already written down stuff, y'all. Start with a blank page. What do you subscribe to? Okay, I subscribe to starting each day with a blank page, meaning that, and I'm going to say I get this from my mother, because my mom used to have me, we used to fuss about, write it down. Old school was always, why can't you just write it down? And they're like, Mom, I got all this technology, I got spreadsheets, I got this, that, and the other. Why can't you just write it down? And then everything you don't get done that day, you carry over to the next day. So the way to rebuke old school, not to rebuke my mother, because I would never do that, but to rebuke old school, was to not have to carry it over to the next day, right? Because one of the behaviors that my mom had, God rest her soul, she's probably like, this girl, why is she talking about me? She would write it down, but then the next page, she had to carry so much of it over, the things that didn't get done or the things that didn't get paid. And I don't like carrying over. I don't. When I like a blank page, right? So at the end of the day, I don't end my day until all that is done. Only thing I'm carrying over to the next page is the great food that I got marinating, or some good leftovers, right? That I can fully and you totally make use of, right? The only thing I want to carry over is a good positive balance, right? I don't want to carry over a negative, because a lot of times at the end of the day, when we get to the end of the day and things are not done, like, there's a lot of stuff that I got to the end of the day yesterday that wasn't necessarily done, but I put them in their proper perspective, so I could be done with them, right? I set my new Oprah book for 15 minute read so I can go on and go to sleep. And Oprah knocked me right on out, her and her guests. I'm gonna have to go back because I didn't realize she had some guests speaking on there. And the last person I heard last night was Kerry Washington. So I'm gonna have to go back and check this book out productively. Right now I'm just using it as a sleep aid. I gotta do better. It was a free book, but that's how people value your free stuff, right? I didn't pay for it as gingerly as I paid for the Michelle Obama book. And you see how invested I was in the Michelle Obama book. Heck, I created a whole podcast. So maybe I need to get with Angela. And maybe Angela and I, as a matter of fact, today is Tuesday. Maybe Angela and I need to start on this Oprah book. Let's do the Oprah book. Somebody text Angela. Dryerbuzz is over there saying y'all need to do the Oprah book because I won't remember. Because that's one thing I'm not consistent about is remembering. So back to the book. The journaling. I really love that doing this podcast has ushered me into really writing things down. And like I said, it was a thing of my mom. So I got books all over the place. She would always just buy, a bill book here, one of those books with the columns, even though I was really excellent at spreadsheets and QuickBook and all that kind of stuff, right? I wasn't consistent with it. I would go ghost on responsibilities, right? I have to admit that. I have to atone for that, right? Because I realized that I could have had a whole lot more peace in life and in the household had I just listened and given in to some of those things, And I don't mean like just give in to it. I mean like really try to understand another person. Man, that is an olive branch. That is something that'll free your soul. Trying to understand where another person is coming from. And unfortunately, I didn't spend a lifetime we didn't spend much of the lifetime we had together trying to really understand. It was like, hey, here's my way, that's your way. Can we please stop butting heads and get this thing together? Luckily for us, we did find that time and have some great time together to say, man, we did this. We didn't do this right. Let's fix this. And so I'm so glad that time came for us. Otherwise, I'd be sitting here pouring out a whole different heart to you guys in the aftermath of the trauma of losing my mom. So let's talk about being consistent. One of the things, like I said, I got up this morning and messages that I was, probably expecting or things that I wanted to work on. That burst of energy, me, I subscribe to a 9-day cycle, right? So I'm like waiting because within that 9 days, I know I'm going to wake up one day and have this burst of energy. You're like, wait, this is not a burst of energy. No, this is not necessarily the burst of energy. It's coming because this is what I do for you, right? So this is me doing this for you. And I sound good. I sound like I got a burst of energy. No, I'm just trying to give you my best because that's something I do consistently in a consistent sequence is I try to bring you my best. Prior to hitting that button, I was like, oh, I got to get out of bed. Okay, I got to do something with this dog. Gotta go grab some lemonade. Oh, I'm like running around. I'm leaving the phone here, leaving the phone there, trying to do too much. That's why I like doing this podcast when I first wake up before I start thinking about all the things that I have to do because it starts interfering it and I begin to get less productive. Periscope is not cooperating. So if you're on there listening, I can't see you guys. And I don't know what's going on, but you know what we do? We continue. So, because we're consistent in that manner, but you do know I have a couple of alternative places for you. So let me go over there. Let me meet you over there in the alternative. And that's the other two platforms. If you're having issues on Periscope, go check it out on the Facebook page or YouTube. And I'd love to have you guys over on YouTube here. Let me do something here as well. So let me get that going. And I know we have to pause consistently because these platforms, they consistently fail. They're right now. I told you guys we are in the midst of a whole lot of change going on. There's a whole lot of change going on. Let me see. I got to start a couple of watch parties here. Let's get it over there. All right. We got a whole lot of change going on. So they're trying to figure out how to zap us of all of our consistent content and not benefit us. That's a lot of things that these platforms are doing right now, trying to figure out how exactly not to benefit us, but to benefit themselves. So I just started a watch party. So if you're having problems on one platform, you can go over there. So again, we start with a blank page in our journal. If you subscribe to a calendar week, grab your calendar and just kind of jot down what are some of your thoughts for the day. What did you feel for the day? I think it's so good to journal. I know a number of people have been telling you over the time to journal. I rebuked that too, and then I fell in line with it when we started doing this podcast. And to be able to look back at the journal and know that each of these days that I have, each of these pages that I have flipped through and written down, that represents productivity in my life. I get it, right? But we have to be able to get it. People can tell us stuff. I can't tell you how much stuff is echoing in my head that people have said, Dryerbuzz, you ought to do this, or Yolanda, you ought to do that. Man, you should do this. Man, you should do that. Those suggestions, I hold on to them because sometimes you'll hear it and you can't embrace it yet. It might just not be the right time yet. There are things that you might not ought to do, but the good people who have given you stuff, they come back and they check on you. They come back and they remind you. They don't get mad because you didn't do it. Some people get mad and they just like, because really, they really wanted you to do it because it's a whole lot of benefit to them, right? And so forth. And you end up losing that respect. Let me write that down. Respect. That's one of the words. R-E, every time I try to every time I try to sing the Aretha Franklin song, what is it that Aretha jacks us up? Everybody that when they try to spell respect in the manner in which Aretha sang it, you get messed up. Respect. Like, I bet you 99% of the people who singing along with Aretha is spelling the word wrong. Simply because, it's so soulful. Let me tell y'all, too, if you did not go out and see that Aretha Franklin movie now, it wasn't even really like a movie. It was really a kind of a documentary where she did, they recorded her over a 2-day period. And it's called Amazing Grace. And it's probably now in the Dollar Theater. It's probably going to hit Netflix and all that now. It came out Easter weekend. And so, Mother's Day weekend would have been a great day to go because it's just like for anybody that grew up in the church, for anybody that had, I know we used to go all the time with my grandparents, and my grandparents were really involved in the church. My grandfather, Pastor Stewart and all of that. My grandmother used to hold all these teas, and it was really the family lineage was all up and through this church. Of course, we let all that down, but anyway, we weren't consistent after their deaths to be involved with this in this manner. But then people, you do that in ways because it takes it. Let me tell you, if you're having trouble with consistency, and if you haven't understood what I'm talking about here, it takes time. It takes time, and you've just got to understand that if you're not there right now, if you don't feel like you're up to your full potential, you're probably not. If you don't feel like it, because a lot of people would never feel like you're at your full potential. But if you don't feel like it, just understand it takes time. It takes time. You will get to a point in life where you're looking back and you're like, man, we all get there. Man, I wish I had really understood this then. I wish I had really understood that. I wish I really had given that my all. Not necessarily my all. I wish I really had never given this or that my all. Then I really probably would have been at a point of understanding. It's going to come. It's going to come. As long as you are trying to be consistent. You probably, if you're not consistent, you probably have spent much of your time ghosting. There's probably certain scenarios or situations where you go ghost, right? I go ghost. Over the last 4 years, I have ghosted a lot of things. I've ghosted people like, where's Dryerbuzz? Ghosting. I'm out, right? Because we don't understand it. So people don't understand that we have these phases in our lives, that we get tired, that we become exhausted, right? And because we don't know how to balance this thing out. People always telling us stuff, they try to beat us over the head with this, that, and the other, but nothing really prepares us. I got books all over my house. I just told you I'm listening to Oprah, and this book that she's got with all her top friends, I just did the Michelle Obama. I mean, everybody who they do it well, they go write a book. I did it well, I wrote a book, right? I can tell you each and every day you want to create buzz today, you want to become newsworthy, buzzworthy, you want to grow your customer base. I can tell you one thing to do and get all that done. Okay. I've been consistently telling you that since I've been on any of these platforms, right? And then you come 5 years later, man, remember you told me, man, I should really do that. I literally just within the last couple of months, somebody said something I told them 17 years ago. And I was like, wow. But they just now think that they get it. They just now want to implement it, right? It happens. It happens. And they probably will tell you right now, I'm ghosting. They've invited me this, that, and the other, and I'm ghosting. There's a couple of reasons to ghost. Because in that, sometimes we challenge respect. Sometimes we do. We challenge a person's respect. I mean, and it's hard when you lose respect. It's hard to gain that back. You can gain it back. I don't know that you gain the trust back. You're not going to necessarily even gain the respect back. But you can come to a mutual understanding. You can come to a mutual goal, and you can realize, man, nobody's doing this but us. Even though we don't respect each other. And one of the reasons nobody's doing it is because it might just be that thing that tears away respect. This might just be that kind of goal where people can't work together. There's one person just really gonna have to do it, but you keep forcing it, trying to get everybody on board. And that's the biggest mistake ever. Waiting on everybody. I tell you that guys that all the time. A lot of times what we envision something to be, that's not it. A lot of times how we envision something needs to work, it's not it. And I know we see it that way because that's what we bring to it. That's what we bring to the table in that situation. But that doesn't mean that that's it. That doesn't mean that that's how it's gonna consistently get done. Okay. So I have 3 things written down: consistent, ghosting, and respect. If you're not consistent, you are ghosting and you are challenging the respect. Okay. And how do you let's talk about the comeback off of that. Because the comeback only starts one way, 2 ways. Either you're going to then have to give an apology. Who hates apologies? Me. Okay, we get back to I tell you this all the time. I'm writing. Apology, a disclaimer. What do they say? Well, that's just the way I am. That's just me. Take it or leave it, right? Or what I always say, side effects. Right, because it's got to get done. It's got to happen. That person has really what you need. But you're going to have to admit to the fact that you just did not respect it. And it's not even that you disrespect. It's not even a disrespect thing. Sometimes it's just about what the truth is. Sometimes the truth doesn't matter. We've established that on many of these broadcasts. Everybody can't be truthful. Everybody don't know how to open their mouth and say what's on their mind or what's on their heart. Right? Or what's the reality? I'm going to write down the reality because in all of this, there's a reality. And unfortunately, that reality is not necessarily something we want it to be. Right? And so reality and respect, not respecting something doesn't mean necessarily that you're a bad person. It doesn't mean that they're a bad person. It just means that y'all got different behaviors. I'm going to write that down. Behaviors, right? Because that's what this thing is about. It's about trying to modify and change and get better behaviors. We all really want better behaviors. We all want to be consistent. See, with each of these words, each one has to relate back to the top, right? We all want to be consistent, but sometimes we can't because, we have either overblown the truth. And now comes the real truth of the matter is, and here's the thing, like right now, I have, one of the reasons I'm not working on one of my projects is because I had to outsource it because I have a flaw. I need this other person to handle these things, right? Because they have the patience for it. I have a learning curve. It's like, wait, this is some new software. Because, I'm coming back to some things. Technology has changed. Lots of things are incorporated now. And I'm like, whoa, wait, it's going to take me a minute to get up to speed, but I need this done overnight in a sense. Let me go ahead and give it to a person, make that investment, give it to a person and get that stuff done, and then they can hand it off to me, right? Once I go, they're working on it. I'm over here cramming on tutorials trying to understand that, because back in my day, we had to get this stuff done with like 10 different applications. Oh, today there's just one. It's the ease of things. Those are the kinds of things that are going on, right? But I know that reputation. Let's write that down. My reputation is to be consistent with it. And if I'm going to put my name on it, then my brand on it, it's got to. I don't like starting, and I don't like ghosting. Right? You don't want to start like some people say, "Man, where's Breakfast with Dryerbuzz?" Well, you need to understand, Breakfast with Dryerbuzz was a beta program. We did it for an entire 9 months to a year. Here's what happened with that. It was specifically for an audience. We satisfied that audience. The industry, the restaurant industry really could not handle it. And we've decided that, we were not going to do it, because we were not going to continue it in that lane, because going into a place that could work with us consistently required us to triple the price, right? So in order, like the breakfast that we wanted to have, so that we could really get the benefit and benefit a group of entrepreneurs that needed that growth, right? We wanted to be at a particular price point. But now, in order to do it at the one or two places who could be consistent, required us to either double, if not triple, the price, because things were falling by the wayside. It's like, listen, they can't handle this business. That means we've got to go to the pros. In order to go to the pros, we got to triple the price, right? So when we come back, we're not coming back at the same price point. So some people might want to stop asking about breakfast, because as soon as I say what the price point is, they're going to be like, I can't make that investment. I already know, right? We already know. But if we can't do it consistently, then we're not going to do it, because I don't want to do it and ghost, because I want to maintain the respect. I don't want to have a comeback. I don't want to have to come back and say, okay, now we're doing breakfast again. I don't want to have to explain that, because I don't want to make any apologies. I'm certainly not going to give any kind of disclaimers, which I was just telling you, listen, if I bring that back, I'm going to have to triple the price. Well, that's going to tripling that price at that audience is going to create some side effects, right? I'm just reading down the list, but I'm being truthful about what the reality is, because that particular audience does not have the behavior, and I certainly don't want what was happening, what was going on, messing up my reputation. That's why, look how that list. See how I was about to say consistent. See how consistent our consistent list is. And if you had to go the rest of the day and monitor yourself, and this is what I want you to monitor. Remember, we did a day where we talked about whether something was part of our routine, or we were just in a rut, whether it was routine or reactive, whether we were always, well, it's our routine that we get up at this time, that we have breakfast at this time, that we arrive early everywhere we go. Is that routine, or we get up late because we're going to react to the day? I have 3 days. Let me tell you, like I said, I subscribe to a 9-day cycle. Please do not put a calendar in front of me. Please do not tell me about the 7-day week, 30 days, in a month, all that kind of stuff. I'm that person. I rebuke that. Okay. I know how my consistency flows. I know within that, in order to maintain my reputation, I have to be respectful of the fact that 3 of those days I can't get it together. Okay, so I don't make any promises on those days. I'm consistent about what I need. This is how I flow, right? So I make sure that in my 9 days, I'm like, okay, wait a minute now. And I know my burn days. I'm like, okay, you burnt yesterday. I had to burn yesterday. Things were not finished, complete, and ready yesterday, right? And I'm like, well, you know what? It doesn't even feel like this is that day. I could go by my feelings. I'm like, okay, Tuesday. Guess what? I love a Tuesday. Tuesday, I am all productive, because everybody's not at the start of the week. They've gotten through, you're trying to work with people, and people are trying to burn through their to-do list and trying to get their week started, because they spent the weekend ignoring everything, and it all comes to a head on Mondays, right? Where at me, I'm consistent. I spread my stuff out every day. All 9 days, right? And I know now that I'm at a point where I probably already have burnt 2 days. So guess what? That was 2 of the 9. Now these 7, I've got to be consistent, right? No more ghosting, right? No more ghosting. Got to maintain the level of respect. I don't want to have to do a comeback. No apologies. No disclaimers. No side effects. No truth. No, all truth and the reality. But I had to modify my behavior. Right, chilling and hanging out on the couch yesterday. I could do that behavior on yesterday because it's like it's Monday. Nobody's returning. Nobody's returning calls. People still trying to get over their weekend. But okay, now it's Tuesday. It's Tuesday. Okay, don't want to lose my respect. Don't ghost me on Tuesday, right? You really want to work doing this and doing that. You want me to come to this event. Now is the time to fill up my inbox. Now is the time to say, hey, we'd love to have you at this, love to have you at that. Because guess what? I'm not in a fog. Write that down. Write that down off to the side. I'm just going to write fog off to the side. Because I was trying to explain to somebody about the whole ghosting thing. And we were talking about dealing with the anxieties and depressions and just different things like that. A lot of times we're in a fog and that fog starts to clear and you can begin to see clearly now. And too many times after coming out of the fog, you realize that nothing stopped. Right, especially going through certain traumas. I was watching a television show. I was binging on a television show, which really should have been a movie. Netflix is really interesting how they're really taking some of these movies because they know that they know that you don't want to be overwhelmed with having to sit for 2-3 hours, to watch something. So what they do is they take a movie, clearly a movie, and they just put these little pauses in there and run a few credits like it's starting, so you feel like you watching episodes because episodes is really popular right now. I can come on here and we can have this whole conversation in a day, and I'm like, no, let me break some of these things up in episodes, right? Episodes, I mean, that's the flow of things. People don't want to be overwhelmed. Number one is because people don't have the attention span. Okay, if I was to sit down and watch that movie, the movie was called Dead to Me. It clearly was a movie. Right? It had a beginning, it had a middle, it had an end. But now it had episode. I'm like, what? Who would even watch this as a television show? Like, is that really like would you really watch that and then wait till like next week? No, because they understand that people binge. They know you're binging. They know you're not gonna just watch one episode. I can't even imagine the way this show went. Like, really, would I stop at that point and wait a whole nother week to watch? That's not even like a cliffhanger. It's like, really, it's a good movie, but they knowing that how our attention span works because you want to stop and pause. It's not even that you want to, it's not even, it's you want to stop and pause and go on your social media. Like, I'm like, this thing needs to get to a stopping point so I can go and talk about this, It was everybody came over. They're like, "Oh, you watching this, that, and the other," and then I could pause it and we could listen. It's about the attention span. I'm not even gonna write that down, or am I gonna write that down? I don't want to write that down, but that's how it's based on what you can absorb, right? Okay, let's write down. I'm off to the side under fog. I'm gonna write attention span because that does. That's about being overwhelmed. Absorb. I'm gonna write that down. SORB. Okay, absorb and what overwhelmed. I'm gonna write that down too because that's part of the thread that we've been putting him on and throughout being overwhelmed because really what we're talking about is simply that life overwhelms us. When we can't be consistent and we start ghosting, it's probably because we're overwhelmed, and we're overwhelmed because we probably have not been truthful. Let me tell you, you've got to get to a point where you say what's on your heart and what's on your mind. Now, everybody's not mean-spirited and negative. It's so funny that how we attribute saying what's on your mind to being rude, being dishonorable. That's not what it means to say what's on your mind. We think that there's going to be some kind of retribution, some kind of retaliation to saying what's on your mind. I'm a blogger. I can't tell you how many people come up to me and say, man, I wish I could say what you say, and you say what everybody's thinking. And I'm like, well, if everybody, I hate that, y'all. But if everybody's thinking it, why can't everybody say it? They feel like they can't say it because their survival is tied to it. That's why I said you better get somewhere because you're going to end up in therapy. You're going to end up saying it, and you're going to say it at the wrong time to the wrong people. And it's going to be a situation because think about it. That means that you are walking around every day suppressing. Suppressing. I'm writing that down on the fog. So I got two lists going here, y'all, because some of this doesn't it applies if you don't do what's going on in the first list. This second list is probably where you are, right? If you're not consistent and you're ghosting, you're in a fog, right? Okay. If you are not I got attention. What did I write down? Attention span, absorb, overwhelm, suppression, right? If you are suppressing, first of all, I can't respect it. I cannot respect a person who says they can't speak their mind. You're not going to get my respect. First of all, if you ghosting, respect is done. You can't get that back because sadly, you probably ghosting at a time when somebody needed you. And that's number one. The number one reason people start ghosting is because they realize they've said or done something to cause somebody to need them, and they know they're not that damn consistent. Okay? And they understand that they are not living up to a we don't have promise on here. I'm gonna write promise down here under reputation. You've overpromised. And it's all right to promise stuff, but too many people are out here over-promising. And that's where, let me put over on there so I don't get it, right? So I don't mess it up. Promise is at the bottom of being consistent, y'all. Our list of consistent, okay? If you don't become or remain consistent, you're probably ghosting. You're gonna end up causing people not to respect you. You're gonna have to come back. And that's the part I don't understand. After ghosting, how do you talk yourself into coming back? You've heard it. You've heard the speech a time or two. That person that's been MIA. I'm gonna write that down next to ghosting. MIA, right? If you're not consistent, there are moments of time that you've been in MIA. My son and I had a conversation when his last visit. He was like, we sat down and had a heart to heart, because I felt like, whoa, there's some tension kind of building up, and trying to be mindful, and not only him, but the family. All of us trying to be mindful and understanding, letting everybody come through the trauma and the grief, dealing with their grief and things like that. And he said, Mama, it's really time for you to get back. It's time for you to get back. You building, but I see it and this kind of thing. He said, but here's what I know about you. Here's what I've always seen about your consistency. And I said, you know what? It's not that I'm doing this and that. He said, no, it's not. That's not what you're doing. He said, but in the process, some things are being neglected. That was the word. I'm like, the boy done left a word on me, right? And I talk with a lot of men, y'all. I'm telling men and women. But Dryerbuzz has a wonderful male audience. So I'm engaging in these conversations. And one of the things I have over the years, especially and particularly because I was raising a son, is I try to pay attention to the language of men. Men and women oftentimes say the same thing but use different words. We oftentimes argue over the semantics. Men want to hear it this way. Women want to say it that way. Women want to hear it this way. Men have to say it that way, right? So I knew not to say, like, what you mean I'm neglected? No, I knew in the language of men, that's a word that says, I care about what's going on with you. And this is something I've not yet experienced in you in all of my life, right? Yeah. And I'm not misinterpreting. I'm not trying to put it into words that I wanted to hear or needed to hear. This was just me because I'm consistent about not having any communication barriers between myself and my son or any of the men that I know, right? So I try to understand that. So I was ghosting. My consistency was lacking, I was MIA mentally on some things. And I'm like, let me figure this out. So we had a conversation yesterday. He called. I told him, okay, time to check in, because the boy is like all over the world. I'm like, time to check in. He's like, okay, I'm going to call you later. He called, and we had this conversation. We've always had these amazing conversations. The boy is just absolutely brilliant. And we can have, and it's not, and I don't slide him in another role. That is my son, respectively, right? He's not my best friend and this guy. I don't try to make him something. It's not. Hey, listen, I'm mom. Keep in mind, I'm always mom. Keep in mind, but I do value your opinion, and I have given you these great oratorical skills and debate skills, right? Just don't use them all on me, okay? But we like to have those great conversations. So, let them know that I thought about it, because people love. Let me tell you about the whole respect thing. When you can say to a person that you actually thought about something that they said, because a lot of times, I remember I said people don't say things because they're afraid of the retaliation, or they're afraid of you just reacting to it. And I let them know, I thought about what you said, right? That's mostly what a person wants to hear. That you gave it some thought. You didn't instantly put up a wall or a barrier, shut it out, ignore it, because mind you, and we're talking about being consistent and not ghosting. There's a courage. Let's write that down. There's a courage to all of this, y'all. I'm gonna write that down. Courage at the end of this. It took courage, number one, to have that conversation with his mother. Okay, to be able to say, because I was like, wait a minute, something's going on here, between us, that, and we've had a moment here and there, but this is starting to become consistent where we're not enjoying each other as much, and we don't see each other that often, but in those moments, we're not enjoying each other. What is going on? Because there's never a moment that we can't talk to each other. So we had that come to Jesus moment conversation, right? And we like to call it a come to Jesus moment conversation, because what you need to understand is, as a parent and a child, if you don't handle moments right, you will come to that moment where y'all realize, okay, we can't even deal with each other no more. And I never want to have that moment. I have 4 kids. I want them to always have an amazing. Nobody gets exiled up in here. I never want them to say, we don't deal with that one, let's not invite that one. Oh, this one's coming. Oh yeah, we all listen. We go through things, but we are succinctly a family, because can't do nothing about it. But we love each other. We don't have to get to those moments. Nobody should ever feel like they can't say what's on their heart and their mind. Don't do it as long as there's no, write this on your second list, malice. One thing I will not allow is for anybody in my space to come at me with any kind of malice, right? That extends to my offsprings, that extends to my associates, that extends to my cohorts. Anybody, you can't be all up and through and around me with any kind of malice, maliciousness. No maliciousness. And what happens is, after ghosting or being MIA, because the respect is gone, right? It gets vicious. It will get vicious. You will, because you're spending all your time mad. You're spending all your time with your wheels turning, if you can say it, when you get a chance to say it. And by the time you say it, it comes out with such maliciousness and viciousness, because you didn't say it in the right moment at the right time, freeing your mind and freeing your heart, right? So one of the things that I always made sure from the beginning of the time of us becoming a family is nobody ever has to experience that around these parts, right? And I extend that out. So consistently, and he knew and I knew, listen, have we had that moment where we sit down and we free our minds and we free our hearts, right? And that's why one of the things is, as a mother, I have always presented that opportunity to my children. And I'm like, wait a minute, when was the last time I presented it? I feel like something's going on. I warm it up. I said, okay, let's sit down. Free your mind, free your heart. Here's how we had that conversation. Because the last thing I want is my only son to start ghosting or be MIA. The boy already got to go all over the world. I'm like, listen, when you come here, okay, I don't want you, I don't want to be looking at you and still feel like you on the other side of the world. That ain't how this works. Y'all, that's not how life works. That is not how life works. And if somebody's ghosting on you, okay, they need, it's a courage thing. But on the other, here come the last word of the day. The last word of the day, y'all already know. What is it? Somebody typing in the opportunity. It's not always about the courage. It's about providing the opportunity. It's about providing the opportunity. And when he said, if he felt like I was, the way he said it, I suggested something else that was a little bit more harsh on myself. He said, no, that's not it. It's just a little bit of neglect. we can fix it, right? Opportunity. I warmed up. I said, okay, let me go present the opportunity for him to free his mind and his heart. I don't know what he's gonna say. I don't know what's going on, because I was mentally ghosting in the situation, right? And it ended up, it wasn't so bad. And we had our conversation yesterday. We don't freed our minds and our hearts and some other things, going on. It's like, hey, we chill. We are chill. And guess what? Now going on having to tackle these other things. Okay, we done did that. Now let's tackle this. Let's tackle that. Let's get back to this. Let's get back to enjoying ourselves. If you are not enjoying, let me check the time so I can get ready to get out of here. Good. We are under time, y'all. We are consistent today, y'all. Okay, that way we can get out of here at the 45. And it right now it's about 30, right at the 40. Okay, so let's wrap this up. So today, keep in mind all of these things play into one another. If you are feeling, and I know it comes back. See, I'm not a real emotional person. I am emotional, but what I do is I like to enjoy my emotions. I like to go through these cycles of emotion. I don't like all this. I don't like a lot of weight on my shoulders because of it. I don't like to have to get to an outburst part of things. Like before I came on here to do this podcast, I had to go in the kitchen and I'm like, why is my cast iron skillet still sitting in the sink? Okay. And I felt some kind of way because I'm like, the respect was therefore challenged. And one thing about raising kids, okay, as a mom, we will attach a whole lot of emotion to when things are left in the sink. Then I'm like, wait, Yolanda, you actually put it in the sink. Did you really have the expectation? Because, they're probably thinking that's mom's cast iron. Let's not even touch it. And so, I had to process all of that. I'm like, let me go ahead and deal with this. Because they dropped one more speck of water on my cast iron skillet. And my daughter actually had moved it out of the way. But I used it to prepare something for Petty Betty. I'm like, well, dang, Petty Betty didn't even I got him. I'm going to attach some emotion. But see, when you are consistent and around people who know you, like I processed all of that, right? So I went ahead and took care and seasoned. Before I got on this podcast, I had to season my cast iron skillet and put it away properly. Because Lord know and behold, if they had thrown it in the dishwasher or left it in that sink or washed it and not seasoned it and put it away, and I saw a bit of rust on there, y'all, it'd have been World War III up in here. You already know. But I know consistently, they know who I am. I know who they are. They just decided not to touch it. I don't know what she does with these things. She put it there. Let's leave it there. Right, really, this is the one time you want to not touch something. Have you ever seen something somewhere or it's sitting there the whole time until you need it? Now somebody done touched it, moved it, used it. Right? Don't that get on your last nerve? It gets on my last. I'm like, I know ain't nobody moved it, touched it, used it, but until I needed it, right? Consistently, that's the thing that happens. So let's go down the list. Let's go ahead and wrap this up by 3 minutes to go, guys. So I ended up with 2 lists. One list of some things that I think that we need to be mindful of. That if you're not enjoying this first list, if you can't work your way through this first list, it's probably because, let me tell you, if you're not consistent, you're probably in a fog, right? You're probably in a fog. If you feel like if you're not consistent, you're probably ghosting on someone or something. You're MIA. You're MIA, missing in action, or just mentally, okay, not participating. You're challenging the respect. You're challenging respect that you have for others and others have for you. And when you're not consistent, that challenges the respect. There's no way you can be out there trying to demand somebody's respect, okay, or command respect of others if you're not consistent. When you are not consistent, you're ghosting, you got to then try to come back. And that comeback is humiliating. It is humiliating. And one of the reasons the comeback is challenged, because I'm going to jump down the list, you probably overpromise. If you are ghosting, if you feel like you can't go back to a person or go back to a thing, there was either you overpromise or they overpromise. If you're ghosting, you probably overpromise something. Just deal with that. What did you overpromise? You're going to have to be truthful. You're going to have to be honest about it, or you're going to have to continue to lie. And I hate when you have to band-aid something with a lie. And let me tell you, lying It's such obvious. Well, I'm a Scorpio, so it's really obvious to me. But I like I said, I like starting each day with a blank page. I was talking about at the beginning of this. I don't want to have to carry over. Like I don't want to have to go to yesterday's page. And yesterday we talked about we started out talking about opportunities, how to recognize opportunities, how to get out of the way, listen different when you want something different, that it might require you to be vulnerable. You might get criticized, but it's all about the ownership and stop just being complicated, right? So ghosting is so complicated. That comeback after ghosting is so complicated. It's humiliating, and you're probably going to have to tell a lie. If you can't be truthful, you are lying. And if you got to come back and you don't come back with the truth, you're going to come back with a lie. That's going to further challenge the respect because listen, people, lies get uncovered. And if you are telling a person a lie and they allow you, and you know they don't believe it, right? When a person allows you to lie to them, they don't care anymore. They're like, okay, let me just go and get what I want and just be done with this. You've probably put them in such a situation that they have to allow you to come back. If somebody don't tell you, look, go on away with that. Just go. Just go. If they don't tell you, just go. I don't even want to deal with it anymore. If they don't shut it out, shut it down, you probably put them in such a situation where now they got to deal with the negative side effects of dealing with you. They got to accept your apology, right? Because in your overpromise, they've overextended themselves. Let me put them on the other side of the list. Overextended, right? If a person is somewhere, you dealing with somebody that's accepting your lies, I feel bad for you and I feel bad for them because they are drowning with you. And y'all know I don't like a drowning experience. All right, so that in that comeback is gonna be lies. If you are ghosting, you've lost respect, and then when you come back, you gotta lie, or you gotta have an apology, or you gotta give some disclaimers, and then from now, there's nothing on the other side of an apology or nothing on the other side of a disclaimer, but some side effects. They're gonna always be on guard. They will always be on guard with dealing with you, right? Because you have ruined the truth. And on the other side of truth is trust. Let me write that down. Trust. You have ruined you've given them your truth. Because the truth is what it is. You can't be trusted. You can't be trusted. And they're allowing you to lie to them. They'll never trust or respect you again. But they have overextended, so they got to take you back. When somebody has to take you back, that is such a sad thing. And you know they got to take you back because you put them in that position. Even that show I told you I was watching yesterday. Oh my God. Because the reality is you can't be trusted. You can't be trusted. You're not going to change your behaviors. It really is your reputation, right? And you always overpromising. You just don't have the courage. And you're really truly not presenting any opportunities. Now let me go back and go over that on the positive side, right? Those are some of the negative things. Being consistent, you're never ghosting. You never miss it in action. You maintain such a wonderful level of respect. You don't have to worry about a comeback. You never have to give. That's me. I'm not giving no apologies. Okay, I'm not giving no disclaimers. I hope I'm not creating any side effects. You like, I'm gonna go listen to how to get out of bed podcast because it's consistently delivering truth and honesty, transparency, and so forth. You can relate to it, right? And I don't have to come on here and say, I'm sorry we didn't do right yesterday. I let you know 3 of the days if you listen to 9 podcasts, 3 of them I'm going to be tired, exhausted, probably not bringing nothing forward. Okay? I'm just saying, because everything I love 9s, right? I'm going to give you the truth. You're going to be able to trust. And I'm going to tell you what reality really is. And I'm going to help you to modify some of your behaviors, because that's what this thing is about. Because at the beginning of the day, we want to position ourselves for the opportunities that present themselves all day long. All day long. At the end of the day, at the end of the day, you know what I like to do at the end of the day? I like to close the book. I don't want to have to say, let me take care of this over to tomorrow, the next day, and so forth. And so sometimes we have to do a part 2 because the stuff is just that good, okay? But at the end of the day, it's all about how we approach opportunities. Today, I want you to gauge whether or not you are approaching your opportunities with consistency. So, are you consistently saying, no, I can't, I need to wait, Can I pause it? Can we do it another time? You're consistently doing that. Are you consistently saying no, or are you consistently saying yes and allowing those opportunities to build up great character? Character, I'm putting that over there. Character, right? Because that's what this thing is about. That's what all of this about. We're trying to get you out of bed so you can get back to your character, that good character, y'all, bringing you out of the fog, right? I got to a point where I couldn't get out of bed because I went through some trauma. I did something yesterday that I've been trying to build up, and that was to literally get back in front of the camera. If you notice, on all of my content is audio. I love podcasting though. But even when I'm live streaming, I'm never dead on. Yesterday, I said, okay, let me go into this kitchen. I am going to do a dead on into the camera podcast, because when you are live streaming, I know you have your audience out there, but you're literally looking at yourself. And I still see the trauma, and not only that, I see some other things. I see my mama, I see my behaviors and those kinds of things, right? And so that's the only thing that I had not done, literally had not done in the past 4 years. And so yesterday I did it, and I'm still pretty good at it. I've gained my weight back, that's for sure. But it felt good. When I did it, I was tired and exhausted. Let me tell you that, because I have had a long day. But then I was like, if not now, when? Because guess what? I don't want to carry this over to tomorrow. I want to start tomorrow with a blank page, knowing that I have lived up to my reputation, right? And still maintain a level of respect and consistency and so forth. So I'm glad I got that done. And I can put that on my editorial schedule, that I will have those conversations. Definitely, I've got some clients that I'm working with that I will be demonstrating some things in the kitchen for their products. And speaking of products, again, I've got to give a shout out, let you guys know that getting these podcasts done is with support. And so thank you guys so much for your continued support of our sponsors and our supporters. And we know we are an ambassador of Natural Soap by Zakia. We're also bringing on a new sponsor on the podcast. AIB Nation is coming on with us, as well as some others. Like I said, I've got a lot of work going on. As we come back, we are finalizing the editorial schedule, which will go from now to the end of the year. And that is the podcast. But Natural Soap by Zakia, she is back in her home base. So you're going to see us sharing a lot of her content, taking you inside her soap studio, taking you inside her. Let me get that out of the way. I got a message. Inside the soap studio. I know you've been looking at this little template we've been putting on the screen, and we did an unboxing. But if you want to feel great like I feel, stay cleaner like I stay clean, do less work cleaning your bathroom. I'm telling you, when you bathe with natural soap, you rinse clean, and your shower rinse clean, your tub rinse clean. There's no scrubbing of soap scum, because you're bathing with natural oils, natural fragrances, and just luxuriating, y'all. I'm telling you, you're missing out. And once you become, a true user of the soaps and the oils, no lotion needed. I'm telling you, you feel great. I'm getting ready to go take a nice hot shower. And let me tell you what I can choose from. I can choose from the activated charcoal and Kelly and Clay. In fact, my daughter swiped that the other day. She loves to use it because it's detoxing. I've got peppermint. I've been bathing with, somebody asked on the video yesterday, had I tried the green apple? I started using the green apple this week, and I'm like, wait a minute. And I only had the green apple in a trial size, because I hadn't had it before. And it came in my trial kit. So trial and travel kit. So I'm using the green apple, about to run out of the green apple, but I have peppermint to choose from. I have the lemongrass. I think I'm going to try the naturally I would try the lemongrass, right? So I think I'm going to try the lemongrass today. And it's a huge bar. So I will be using that for a while. And I'm like, and I have 3 bars in already. I'm finishing up a peppermint, a trial size peppermint, the activated charcoal. I did that one. Let me see which one. The green apple. Oh, the triple butter blend. I did the trial of the triple butter blend because I had some new perfume from Mother's Day. The triple butter blend is unscented, but it's made with all these different oils, so you still moisturize, still feel good, still great lather, and you can use it from head to toe. I like the triple butter blend, using it from head to toe, because then you get a nice shampoo out of it. If you don't have your shampoo bar like the triple butter blend, I love using it. I just love using it from head to toe because I'm trying to let my hair grow out, so I've got to do the shampoo and stuff. Anybody knows that natural hair routine. But then also I'm thinking about going ahead and cutting this hair. I'm like, man, I'm trying. Y'all, I am so torn on this hair journey. Okay. But go to Natural Soap by Zakia. I know you got there. You're like trying to buy right quick. Okay. So make sure you use your discount code. Make sure you use your discount code Dryerbuzz. You're going to save 10%. If you need the link, it's in my timeline several times. And it's Natural Soap by Zakia. But if you want to use the referral link, go over to wherever you're listening to this. Check that timeline on Twitter and all those other kind of things. Twitter and all the platforms. But look for broadcasts. Look for broadcasts. Don't just take my word. You get to go live inside the soap studio where she makes the soap, where she packages the soap, where she ships the soap, where she creates the soap, where she comes up with the designs, where she comes up with the formulas. Not only that, if you would like to monetize your social media, she has a wonderful ambassador program. Or if you have an interest in making soap, she has a live soap school, okay, where you literally learn to make the soap. If you want to start making your own soap and build a business around it. She was able to build this business around soap making, which she just started doing for her own family, and people watching her making, well, can I buy? Can I buy? Can I buy? Because that's what you're hearing. When you come online, people want to know, can I buy? Can I buy? Can I buy? Right? And so in 3 years, she just literally arrived home from speaking on a national stage to soap makers, and it's just been an absolutely amazing journey. Where she learned to create such buzz, Yolanda? Well, she has my book called 27 Answers to Create Buzz, which tells you literally how to go from the audience to the stage. So that's one of the reasons why we are so invested in Natural Soap by Zakia. That's the first reason I'm going to always make that referral and tell you to use Natural Soap by Zakia. The second is I'm a customer, okay? The third is I truly believe in the product, and I love, let me tell you, people saying, oh, it's time to go green, it's time to go clean. Let me tell you, we've been green, we've been clean, okay? Go and support go support yourself by shopping at Natural Soap by Zakia. All right, so I told you also we're going to get out of here. I know, guys, I got to go. Couple other podcasts I want you to be mindful for. Angela and I will probably go live today just to kind of talk through how we want to do this. I think we probably should do a little bit on the Oprah book, because the Michelle Obama book, if you did the audio book, was about a 2-hour read. The Oprah book, The Path Made Clear, is actually available for free. She gave it to the graduates, and then she made it free online on Amazon. The Path Made Clear. Go and download it as an Audible, an ebook, or I don't know if it's, I guess an ebook. I don't know if the print book was free, but that's what everybody's listening to and reading this week. The Path Made Clear by Oprah. And not only is in the Audible, she has other celebrities on there with her talking about how their path was made clear. Your path can be made clear as well. Also, let me just put on the screen here, Buzz It or Bash It. We have brought on your weekend podcast. That's why we troll and scroll and wrap up all the topics of the week. And then also, you can catch us live in the kitchen. The kitchen podcast is going to come to you Wednesday after we cook in the kitchen. We're going to come on and do a food podcast and tell you what had happened, okay? What had happened, what are some of the things that we learned after we cook alone. So that's going to be one. And then one last thing you're going to see on the screen periodically, just a reminder to tell you to always swipe to the profile. If you like this podcast and others, you can always go and binge on Buzz. But this was just me talking us through how to get out of bed. So today for your exercise, are you consistent? Are you consistent or are you ghosting? What matters and manners throughout your day? Just today, I'm not thinking about life. We're not talking about all of life. We're just talking about throughout the day. I just want you to be mindful about the day. The things that you're doing today, are you consistent? If you're not consistent, you're probably ghosting. You're challenging your respect. You probably have to come back. You got apologies all day. Have you ever noticed? Listen, this is what I do. Watch how many women, if you're around a lot of women or if you're around a single woman, pay attention to how many times she apologizes for nothing. Absolutely nothing. Even when she didn't have to. The other day I was somewhere and this woman, 3 apologies came out of her like right quick. Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. I'm like, for what? Right? Apologies, disclaimers. How many times do you or does somebody have to give you a disclaimer? Oh, let me get that out of you. I'm sorry that's in your way. Or that happens. It happens all the time. I do that. Like really disclaimers. Just disclaimers. I don't understand it. Side effects. These things create side effects. When we're not living our truth and people can't be trusted, that's side effects, right? But the reality is going to come through because behaviors are what they are. These things are becoming your reputation. You don't want those behaviors, apologies, disclaimers, and side effects to be part of your reputation because you could be having a bad day. And if you don't say, listen, y'all, I'm having an off day, and I know that's a disclaimer, but it's the truth, right? I'm having an off day. But I'm consistent. I don't want to let you down. But you need, because if you're showing up, right there on the show up, if you show up and you're not your best, you need to let somebody know. I didn't want to let you down. That's not a disclaimer. So I showed up, but I'm not my best, right? Because people have to understand that, right? But it's better to speak what's on your mind and speak what's on your heart. Not being malicious with it, but you have to speak what's on your mind and speak what's on your heart because when you are suppressing it, people are going to charge that to your character, right? And all you're doing, you're trying not to hurt somebody's feeling. Well, they've already hurt yours, right? They're going to charge you to your character. If you're ghosting, it's going to be charged to your character. You're going to lose respect. If you always have to come back, I'm sorry I let you down. I don't know what happened. You know what happened. It's already been charged to your character. This is who you are, right? Especially if it happens time and time again. And if it's allowed to happen time and time again, that person is just as bad as you are, right? So behaviors, your reputation. Stop overpromising. Stop overpromising. If you can't give something, if you can't be this or do that or be here or be there consistently, because you define what's consistent about you. I said to y'all, I'm going to do a daily podcast. I'm going to do this. If I wake up, we talking. That's consistent. Now, I haven't said for the rest of my life. I said in this season, I'm going to be consistent with it, right? So you're going to go out there, you're going to find one. I didn't say, they're all going to be an hour and a half, 20 minutes, 45 minutes, 30 minutes. I never said. Because I know it's about being, the consistency I'm offering is daily. Sometimes there have been times I came on here, hey guys, listen, I'm running. I'm going to go do this. I'm volunteering. I had to get up early. I'm not in the bed. I'm this, that, and the other. Things are going on, but I still come on, right? Consistently. Because I don't like losing respect. I like the opportunity. I have the courage. I don't want to have to apologize. I don't want to have to come back and say, y'all, I'm sorry the podcast went away. No, that ain't what I do. No disclaimers over here, right? I don't overpromise, right? Because I don't want it to be in charge to my reputation. And I certainly don't want to be in charge to my character. Because when I open up this book to a blank page each and every day, I want a new opportunity. So for the rest of the day, are you consistent or are you ghosting? Aim for two lists. Aim for two. Right? You're either consistent or you're ghosting. And if you're ghosting, why are you ghosting? Because you overpromised or you lied. You didn't allow the truth to come through. 2 sides to everything. As many dimensions as we love for things to be, there's really 2 sides to everything. There's really two sides to everything. And on the other side of this, I want to push this button and get us up on out of here. I want to thank you guys so much for listening again. Thank you for supporting Natural Soap by Zakia. Look for our new sponsor to come on, AIB Nation. If there's a book in you, and guess what? There is a book in you. You're about to become an author in business. They have a retreat that's coming up. They have got some amazing things to help you get through. I've got a new book, got two new books. I got two deadlines that I have got to finish up. Two books that I've probably had on hold for I don't know how long. And I've got to get those done. But you better believe I'm going to get it done with AIB Nation. So they'll be coming on and supporting our podcast as well. Again, how many podcasts? Well, we got a week load of podcasts. How to get out of bed is in the mornings, on Tuesdays. Your leadership, we're going to call that kind of a leadership podcast. I'm going to give you an opportunity to ask myself and Angela some amazing questions about becoming leaders, right? And then we've got Buzz It or Bash It, your Saturday morning in the salon, barbershop, running around with errands, out on the practice with all the kids and all that. Good 45 minutes of scrolling and trolling to put in your ear. And then, of course, in the kitchen, you're going to get that on a Wednesday. That's kind of an after talk from what we try to make. All right. I love y'all, but do me one last favor. Just one. Okay. Just one last favor as I scroll to it. I thought I had it ready. Hold on. Let me see. It's in here somewhere. One last favor and you go and have yourself a great day. Do what we do best. Let's get out of bed. And it said, nope, I don't want to play it for you, lady. Why doesn't it want to play it? Okay, I got too much on my phone. So, but I'm going to tell you myself, go now to Dryerbuzz.com and follow at Dryerbuzz on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, all those different places. Y'all just do what we do best. Have a great day and get out of bed.